We are back. We are live. This is the Educated Ignorance Podcast right here on the For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Joe Winkle, joined by my good friend from Gotham Gambling. It is producer Danny. Danny, how are you doing today, partner?
I'm good, man. I'm ready for the games tonight. I need to see a next 3-0 3-0 start for the weekend.
Wouldn't you rather them just kind of ice Jalen Brunson for a night, let him get back into the hyperbaric chamber?
No, because then you give Indy momentum, and that's like the one team you just can't give momentum to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. I'm here for content. I'm here for games. I'm here for series that just last forever. So
I'm here
I
for
am
W's
having.
and W's only.
Yeah, I'm here exactly. Yeah, I'm here having way more fun just watching and observing than you are.
And
Being stuck in it. But hey, at least
I'm here for more Knicks fans outside the Garden yelling for no reason. I'm interested what facts they looked up about Indiana on Wikipedia for that game.
I'm interested to see like how many different people in a week, like in a day, they can yell "fuck" so and so at. Like,
yeah, I'm trying to think other than like Halliburton and them, like who could they do for that? You know, for Philly, they said like fuck Joe Biden.
They're just chanting they're still chanting at Trae Young. They chanted at Reggie Miller the other day.
Oh, that was great. Josh Hart going on the mic and just saying, they said, fuck you, Reggie.
Josh Hart being like, hey, man, they're saying, fuck you. Josh Hart, you're a legend. OG for that.
They're going to give him a max contract just for that.
I mean, they probably should retire his jersey. All right.
He's got to be a Knick for life after that.
Exactly. Your dog agrees. Okay. So here's where we're at today. By the way, we're presented by Durham Remodeling, Ryan Allison Tattoo, and Jared Zook. Producer Danny is on screen today because I need a shotgun man. I need a catalyst for this we are gimmick central today. We were off yesterday. We had some stuff we were doing, but we are back here today to close the week, preview the weekend in a sense. All these series are about to be in game threes, so we are now we are switching cities. We have an idea on what we expect. 3 of the 4 series, right? No, 2 of the 4 series are R1-1. So we had splits. We had 2 splits. We had the home team win 2 games and the road team win 2 games. So a bit everywhere, a bit of series record potpourri, if you would say. So we've got a little bit of everything for you. We are going to do 8 burning questions. We are going to comment on every single team, and we have a question for each one. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see if we can get out of here in 40 minutes or less. Danny, are you ready, my friend?
I'm ready. Let's go. I need a nap, but let's go.
All right. Let's start at question number 1. What if Minnesota sweeps the Denver Nuggets? This is a much more big picture take than just a what if they beat the Nuggets? What if Minnesota wins in 5 or 6 or even it goes 7? What if they sweep the Nuggets? What is the level of the championship hierarchy, the level of player hierarchy? How does that change if within the next 72 hours the Denver Nuggets season championship defense ends by Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves?
I don't think it hurts Denver, but it helps Minnesota for their futures for next year. I think from a perspective of like we've seen teams get swept where the best player had the best series he's ever had, but everyone else is just off. And that's what happens sometimes. And it's obviously what you don't want to see. You don't want to see, as hot as Jamal Murray was in the regular season, you don't want to see him bricking shots and having meltdowns on the court. You don't want to see your other guys struggling on the floor. But it's with Minnesota and the Thunder, it reminds me almost when you see those, like obviously they're more than just a mid-level team, but those teams in like the college basketball tournament, like the 9 seeds who are just like, we have nothing to lose. We're not a Cinderella. We're not a top tier seed. Let's just go out there and be dogs. And I think that's the thing. I mean, I could see Denver winning at least 2 here. I think if Jokic comes out and plays like he normally, like we've seen him when he's really trying, he's hard to beat. But it's almost like last year when they played LeBron. It's not about the star players. Is your support going to be there? And that's the reason that Minnesota's been winning, because Edwards could put up as much as he wants, but if the support around him is not playing well, then they're not winning.
The biggest thing for me that's interesting in this aspect is that the best player alive conversation all of a sudden is it's different, right? Like we are in a I think we're 2 wins away from the best player alive belt being vacant. And then I think it's up for grabs between Ant, who would be the odds-on favorite, Shea and Luka, and that's probably it. Maybe if Jalen Brunson just averages 40 a game en route to a title, being the only man left on the Knicks that doesn't get hurt, maybe that's the case for Jalen Brunson to be to hold the best player alive heavyweight championship. But I think for Minnesota, if they win, if they even come out of this series, they should be the betting favorite, even though they probably won't be, because when you look at Boston, it's still a matter of odds if they are going to have the easier path. And, the second and third best teams probably left will be the 2 teams on the other side of the West bracket. But regardless, this is a maturity process for this Timberwolves team and an arrival with a guy this good that is very scary. And we are setting up, Danny, a potential character story arc for the summer of Anthony Edwards, the season of Anthony Edwards, dominating throughout the year, having the viral moments, dominating the playoffs, maybe potentially winning a title at 22, and then going to the Olympics and while all of the old guys are there for one last run, LeBron, Steph, Durant, Kawhi, Embiid's there, all those guys. Just turns out they're going to have to pass the torch to the young dude. It's going to be very 92 Dream Team-esque.
You know what I've loved about this Timberwolves team? That I saw someone say the other day that it's almost poetic that you have all these teams who tried to do what the Warriors did and just buy their super team and they got, like, with the Suns, they went and bought it. They went and traded everything they had for Brad Beal. They went and traded everything they had for Kevin Durant and just said, oh, we have 3 of arguably the top 15 scorers when they're hot in basketball. We're good. And the Timberwolves over the last 2 years just said, oh, we're going to build the pieces around our weakness. We're not going to go, let's go get like a KD. Let's go get a LeBron. No, they said, let's go get defensive players. Let's go get like a defensive veteran guard to lead the point. Let's go get that defensive wing that could guard 2 through 5 if we need him to. Let's go get that guy who, although people always question his defensive ability, has won 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Dude, the fact that they left the Russell Westbrook D'Angelo Russell trade, remember that last year when the Lakers wanted to dump Russ and it landed them D'Angelo Russell, the Minnesota Timberwolves won that trade by 6 miles. They lapped the field. They landed Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker in that trade. Like, that's...
Could you just imagine, though, if they had gotten Westbrook straight up? Could you just imagine the aggressiveness towards the lane?
Yeah, but it doesn't.
It wouldn't have fit. But like, could you just imagine that aggressiveness? For like, you're like, Edwards isn't going to dunk on me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's a 2K lineup. It's not a real lineup.
Other side. Question 2: does Denver have a path back? Because I talked at length, and I hope you ended up going back to listen. And if you're watching, there's a 30-minute diatribe about the Nuggets Timberwolves game 2, and we go in depth on how what happened, and where I think we're at right now. If Minnesota was playing any other team, any other defending champion, even, I would say this series is over and Minnesota's going to win the championship. But the Nuggets have kind of tricked me into thinking that they're this team that can kind of pull shit out of their ass all year. The problem is this is a terrible matchup, And I don't know. They played Tuesday like a team that was ready to roll over. And they got their soul stolen. Danny, do you think they have a path back? I mean, there's a path that exists. Do you, in your mind, what is it? And B, does it happen?
It's hard, but I think there is some kind of, so Minnesota has the third best record, has the second best record at home this season. They've only lost 15 games and they've won 30. And they're going up against a Nuggets team that is arguably lower than teams like Golden State, like teams that just struggled this year on the road on the road. And they still finished above 500, but their margin of victory was less than a point. And they're going against a Minnesota team that was beating teams at home by 6 or more on a regular basis. I don't know if they have a path back. I think if even if they win game 3, it depends on it depends on how these role players play. It depends on if KCP has a great game. It depends on if Porter Jr. is reliable, if Aaron Gordon's reliable. Because the biggest thing is that Aaron Gordon has a matchup where he's always going to have a 7-footer on him. And it's just how is he going to play around that? Because one of Jokic's best things this year has been the focus on Murray has led Aaron Gordon to be a key piece and Porter Jr. to be a key piece. And he
in game 1 when Rudy played, he did not attack. He stayed away from going after Gobert in game 1.
Exactly. And with them having all these big wings, it's just, okay, well, if Murray's in a slump, we're just going to live and die with hoping Murray doesn't go off for 40 right now. And it's working. So it's how are these role players going to react? Are they we've seen what happens when Jokic is just like, you know what, I'm finishing this. I'm going balls to the wall. But what happens if the rest of the team is already thinking about Cancun? Just isn't there against this team that's hungry, that has something in them that's just like, we're going to be that team to just fuck everyone up.
Their mindset is, we're going to rip your limbs off. We are going to then use your limbs as weapons to beat you to death. And then we're going to piss on your dead body. That is their mindset. It's they got to go through Jokic more, because there's no feasible way where Murray, unless he all of a sudden gets his jump shot back, there's no feasible way where Murray, in my opinion, is going to be efficient. Here's the thing that we can both agree on. Not that we're disagreeing on this, but here's the thing I know we're going to agree on with a bullet. We're going to know by the halfway point of the first quarter tonight where this is going. 6 minutes into the first quarter, Danny, it will be fight or flight. Because Denver has not started a game well all playoffs. They have been trailing by double digits every first half. If they're down in the first half, if they're down at the under first media timeout again in the first quarter, I expect shit to come unglued quick. So we'll see.
They're favored. They're the underdog, right? If I remember right.
Wolves are 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah, as an underdog, Denver has as like a 40% win rate, and as a home favorite, Minnesota's only lost 10 games this year. They have a 75% winning percentage. So that with a 10-point margin of victory. So that's, I mean, I'm seriously thinking this. I don't think this ends in 4. I think Jokic is going to do enough to make it competitive.
I think if Minnesota wins tonight, they'll bury them again in 4. I think game 4 will be another blowout, like blowout.
If you're an NBA conspiracy theorist where you believe everything is rigged, they're not going to let Jokic get swept after giving him MVP when it should have been Luka.
Well, they already you are, if you're someone who believes it's rigged, you have a case to feel that way, considering Jamal Murray should not be playing tonight, but he is 100%. Playing tonight. All right,
and that's the thing is we're going to be talking for weeks about, if they come back and win this in 7 or 6, we're just going to hear, if Murray got suspended like he should have, like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I expect Minnesota to go for it and try to steal them again. I mean, like, we're going to learn a lot about Denver, man. That's for sure. Minnesota, we know how they're going to come. They're going to come correct every night. This Denver team did not face adversity last year. They bled for the first time, and they ran away from it. They went and got the manager. They said, guys, they're playing too hard. I'm offended. Will you please tell them to stop guarding me, sir? So yeah.
Not even
I know.
just last note I have on this. If they get swept, I just know this whole summer we're gonna hear, should they trade Jamal Murray? Should they trade this? Should they blow? Like, we're just gonna hear all this crap where it's just like it's a bad playoff series he had.
They will need a roster revamp.
They will, but they can't
relied
get rid of
too
Murray.
much. No. But they've relied too much on the youth bench that did not come to fruition. They probably need at least one starter upgrade. Like if you can upgrade the KCP spot somehow, maybe even though KCP is still a really valuable player, I don't know. But there's roster stuff in that they can do that can definitely be upgraded. Okay. Question number 3. This is probably a quick one. Why should we trust Boston to go to the finals?
You can't. And I'm not just saying this as I'm wearing a Knicks hat, but Boston just feels like they're doing what Denver kind of did last year, like not a care in the world. Oh no, we lost. Okay, now we can play serious. But eventually one of these teams is just going to step on their throat and just be like, okay, well, we're not going to like, okay, you got to relax for one game against the Heat and then you shut down Nikola Jovic. But what are you going to do when, okay, Donovan Mitchell's dropping 40. Oh no, we got to stop him. Okay, well, Garland can go off. Mobley can go off. When they get Jared Allen back without Porzingis, that's a huge mismatch because you're putting Luke Cornett and Horford against Jared Allen and Mobley, and that's going to leave the paint open. Like they lost the season series to the Pacers. They tied with the Knicks. Either of those teams has the momentum that when they make it past Cleveland, because I still think they will, that they're going to force them to play and they're not going to be ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you will have two teams that play hard almost all the time, and the Celtics kind of at times sleepwalk. So I'm going to parlay this question into question 4, which is, are the Cavs serious? I have been the proponental poo-pooer of the proponental. Anywho, I've been Captain Poo-Poo of the Cavs process. I have poo-pooed the process, Dan, of the Cleveland Cavaliers, because as much as I liked, listen, when the trade happened, I loved it. But after seeing what happened in the playoffs last year, after seeing the regular season where they had, like, it never worked, and then the moments against the Magic where they looked so bad, and then they move on, whatever, who cares? Yeah, they beat my team. That's whatever. But I just never felt like, man, like this Cavs team is just there. They're just a walking corpse. And then last night happens, and Donovan Mitchell, obviously, who is starting to really play, he's playing really good. The best, you could argue these are the best games he's played as a Cavalier. The best games he's played since the bubble, maybe, or at least a couple of those games for Utah the year they were the 1 seed. So you have that. Evan Mobley having himself a resurgence a little bit. As someone who bought a lot of Evan Mobley stock at one point in my life, I am feeling good about the fact that he is kind of figuring life out. Darius Garland yesterday played really good. Karis LeVert off the bench was pretty awesome. The Strus piece is starting to find a rhythm. Yesterday was, for the first time, the vision of the Cleveland Cavaliers when they made the Mitchell trade. I sat up and thought, okay, I see it. Because when they made the Mitchell trade initially, I was like, all right, maybe their ceiling is round 2. Who knows? If you get the right matchup, you can make the conference finals. Well, if Mitchell's playing like this and they continue to get ancillary support, maybe this is the vision, Danny. So I ask you, are they serious?
They're this weird team that they're always seeming in limbo, where it just feels like we could wake up one morning and see the whole team get traded and we wouldn't even bat an eye. Or we could see them try to add a piece and we wouldn't bat an eye. I think they just happen to be always getting hot at the right time. When you look at it, they were like the 7 seed, like a month and a half left in the season. They won like 10 in a row, while the Knicks, Bucks, and the Sixers all lost like 6 out of 7 and just skyrocketed to the 4. I don't think they're serious. I want to see what they do this offseason before I want to even admit to saying they're serious. Like, do you let Mitchell walk and spend that money bringing in someone else? Do you, my opinion, kind of crazy one, you ask Mitchell who would he want if they kept him, and you trade Darius Garland in some pieces and you get that.
Yeah,
and you let Mitchell run the point, because
Mitchell's reminding us he's too good to let go. Just let walk.
And that's the thing is, like, if you let him run the point, it's LaMelo but efficient.
That's a hell of a comp. That's a hell of a comp comparison.
That looks, it's like not the play compares, just the play style, like the way the offense would be run would literally be how the Hornets run LaMelo, but it would be more efficient because they have defenders.
Yeah, it's like if LaMelo gave a shit.
Exactly. Like you could, if the Hawks blow it up, do you trade Garland for like DeJounte? Do you go after like a Terry Rozier who's going to be a free agent? Do you go after, do you even fucking attempt to go after like a Devin Booker? If they trade him, they blow it up.
Like Booker and Mitchell together would be weird.
No defense would be played, but it would be fun.
It's a lot of redundancy.
But like, do you say, hey, we need a piece? These 4 players are off the board. Everyone else is yours. Mm-hmm. What do you got for me? Like, what do you say that, and you try to prove to Mitchell that you want to keep him, and you want to put something Mitchell because if not, he's going to New York.
You don't want him on the Knicks.
I don't, but he's from New York. He wanted to come here. He was supposed to get traded here.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would sign him.
Do you go ballsy?
It doesn't fit.
Do you go ballsy and you trade picks and players and you get Mikal Bridges?
You're saying for the Cavs or the Knicks?
For the Cavs.
That would be I would trade Garland.
And you had Okoro.
I would absolutely trade Garland and picks for Evan Mobley.
You could
for Derek or for
they
Mikal
would probably want like Mobley or like someone, or you could find a 3-team trade to give them another prospect, but where you could have, even if you traded Mobley and you had Mikal Bridges, Mitchell, and Jared Allen with Okoro.
Absolutely. Holy shit.
With Okoro and Max Strus at your 3-4, and you could go draft, like you could use one of your draft picks to get like a big that you could develop.
No, absolutely, because Jared Allen's a borderline all-star. I think Mobley is showing like when he can play the 5. He's starting to show there's some stuff there. So we'll see.
Not to mention,
I'll tell you what, man, tomorrow night's going to be fascinating. Tomorrow night is going to be fascinating.
Jared Allen thrived that month that Mobley was out.
Mobley didn't play.
This 2 big man lineup is a great lineup for some teams. It doesn't work when both of your big men play the exact same style. It works in Minnesota because Gobert can shoot. Mobley's not there as a shooter.
You mean Cat can shoot? But yes,
you know what I meant.
Yeah, no. It works in Minnesota. You're right. It works in Minnesota because Cat is a historical shooter. It doesn't work in Cleveland because Evan Mobley doesn't have a game outside.
They are the exact same player.
Exactly.
It's like you remember the Greg Monroe Drummond experiment in Pistons where they were fighting each other for rebounds and it didn't work.
Hey man, shout out to Andre Drummond, the greatest rebounder of all time. All right. Fun little exercise there. Number 5. I probably worded this wrong. Should the Dallas Mavericks be considered the second best team left? Now, this is a question more along the line of like how their roster is built. I still think the Thunder are going to win. We'll talk about them in a second. But if Luka can like every other game snatch 8 minutes of brilliance mixed around 25 to 30 other minutes of really good like he did yesterday, which opens up PJ Washington getting good looks, Josh Green getting good looks, Oh, wow. Tim Hardaway's one game out of every 17 where he hit shots. Last night was a nice reminder of what the Mavs can be when Luka is the pedal is to the metal. I guess I'm going to rephrase the question. What should we expect? I guess we'll put it for both. How do we expect both of these teams to continue this series? Let's start with Dallas.
I mean,
was last night an aberration?
I think so. I think like we've seen when Luka gets pissed off by something, he goes off the next day. And between there was that whole thing where a fan got warned because a fan was saying something to Luka and pissed him off. Like getting snubbed for MVP, I kind of knew he was going to go off.
Then he was so bad in game one.
Yeah. But like this Thunder team is just built so well. Like and that's the thing is like if you give me the Thunder, like when they take all starters out, I trust the Thunder bench, even though everyone's in like their first, second year, that I would trust the Mavericks bench for 48 minutes. Because the Mavericks, it just feels like they play defense, but it's like, oh, like keep it close. So when Luka gets in, we could shoot a bunch of threes and blow him out the water. Whereas the Thunder defense just kind of, the Thunder have been playing with this intensity of like, we will beat you 2-0 if we have to. And I think that's just what's going to bring them over the edge here. I just like you're banking on a lot of role players that, as well as they fit with the system, they are known, that, especially this season with PJ Washington and Gafford, for being streaky. When they get cold, they get ice cold. When they get hot, they get hot. We've seen Gafford get hot, and I think a lot of people were expecting a lot of him because his first game against the Thunder, he had like 23 and 18. And then the next time he played them, he had 4 and 4 in 30 minutes. You have a 4-man rotation at center that you haven't figured out yet. And now 3 because Kleber's out. But I just feel like this roster was put together, and then I think this like it reminds me of Portland. They're built for the regular season. I don't think they're built for the playoffs because one man can't do it all. And I think it feels like they're relying on Luka and Kyrie to do it all.
I think their roster makes a lot of sense, man. The Luka and Kyrie pieces that can trade off, and then everything else fits.
No, I'm not saying I don't. Yeah. I like their roster, but like I said, you bring in these pieces, and then you bring in these 2 centers, and it limits your rookie center that you're trying to develop with Luka.
Yeah, but Lively's been playing.
He's been good.
Awesome.
But that's what I'm saying. You have this 3-man rotation where it's like, okay, if Lively struggles to start the game, he's losing minutes the rest of the game. It's not like, oh, okay, like get him going, he'll get hot. Well, it's like, oh, too bad Gafford's in, go, and then Gafford's in for a while. That I just like when I watch them play, I feel like the Thunder just have more chemistry as a team. They have more of this like we're the youngest team in the NBA. Everyone thinks we're a fluke, but we're dominating. Like it just every time I see them on the court, there's always someone up. There's always someone on the bench yelling. They're all communicate. Like they look like they've been playing together since high school.
One thing for Dallas last night that impressed me was the fact that they were able to win the way they did and keep Oklahoma City at arm's length in the final, 12 and quarter and a half, with Kyrie not scoring a lot. But Kyrie was dishing. Kyrie moved the ball well. Kyrie defended his ass off. Kyrie Irving in the year 2024. Who would have known that the revelation that we would have watching? I love watching him play basketball, man. It's so fun. I think the Kleba injury, in a way, makes everything come together a bit more. It forces them to play Hardaway a little bit more, which is probably good because he can shoot. He's a little more active. They continue to give Josh Green minutes, which I am all here for. PJ Washington yesterday was great, and I just enjoy the process of him becoming he is their 3rd best player. And he has become a playoff performer, like a playoff guy. And that has been fun to see. And then obviously they are basically now splitting 48 minutes between Gafford and Lively, and it's worked. Lively didn't play great yet last night, but Gafford has just been a menace on defense at the rim. He has won the center battle, and it was a bad Chet game yesterday, but I think he'll be better. I expect the Thunder to be fine. I think the first quarter where Luka went nuts forced them to kind of change up a little bit on defense. I thought they were forcing a little bit too much from three yesterday. They just need to get their offensive flow back. But Dallas did show yesterday, like, even though, they gave up 110 points, but when their offense or when their defense is locked in, it's tough because, Oklahoma City was not getting the lane runs that they were getting in game one. That is for sure. Also, the Josh Giddey minutes. Can we stop? Can we stop with the Josh Giddey minutes? 11. Listen, he was great in round one, but this is not the matchup, boys and girls. Yesterday, 11 minutes, minus 20. Okay? Listen, Giddey, bad. B-A-D, capital B, capital A, capital D, not good. Aaron Wiggins has been really good in this series. Cason Wallace is a really good, probably their sixth best guy. Jalen Williams showing you can give him good minutes, and then Isaiah Joe. Like, I like when they have those four guys off the bench. And that's like a good top 8. Giddey can play like 10 or 11 minutes, but I don't know if you can have him start. I think in game 3 you have to start. You have to start Wiggins or Wallace because, like, the moment Giddey is out there, it's a disaster. It's not good.
The thing with him is it all depends on Jalen Williams' playmaking level at the moment. Like, if he's not seeing the court well, then that's where Giddey's been shining. But yeah, no, you're right. Giddey's had like such a up and down year. Like, he'll have a stretch where he just looks like he could lead the league in triple doubles in the next season, and then he has days where it's just like we just spent a top 10 draft pick on a guy who in his second year in the league has not developed anything of a 3-point shot. Looks like a 10-year-old dribbling with his offhand. Like, Giddey has no offensive bag, but he gets past everyone. Like, it's ridiculous. He dribbles like this, he still gets past everyone.
I like a lot of what he does, but man, I can't believe Dagnall ran him back out there in the third yesterday.
I think
I was so happy because Dagnall benched him to start the half. They go on a 13-4 run. He brings Giddey back in, and then they instantly have like 4 shitty possessions. It's like, oh, he did not learn.
I think he is the one player, if they decide to just dump draft picks and get a like certified star that they could play at the 3 and move Dort to the 2 or vice versa. I think he's the domino that falls in that. I think we see like a couple picks and then like the other Jalen Williams and Giddey for like some star player somewhere. I don't know.
That could be a Mikal Bridges landing spot.
I think, could you imagine that 2-3? Mikal Bridges and Dort.
Oh my God. Just nastiness.
Please don't tempt me with that because I want that. And
you want Mikal Bridges on the Knicks.
No, I'm a Thunder fan first.
Okay.
The Knicks are just because I have to pick a team in New York.
Well, let's talk about them real quick.
Fun fact, I was a Nets fan first before I was a Knicks fan because the Nets were cheaper to go to when I was in college.
Shout out Jersey, baby. What if Jalen Brunson leads the Knicks to the finals?
Oh,
he's
replacing Eric Adams, like effective immediately. He's the new mayor of New York.
I'm talking about New York status. I'm talking about league status. I'm talking about all-time Knicks status.
If he does, then Mavericks fans are just gonna have to all go to therapy because they had him, but they didn't want to offer him.
Yeah.
Leon Rose looks like an absolute genius. People like James Dolan again.
Rick Brunson is going to get a statue somewhere.
Rick Brunson would they would give him, it would be like a Thanasis situation.
They'd give him part
where
ownership in the
they
team.
would just be like, hey, we'll come coach here. We'll give you the biggest salary assistant coaches made because your son might join us next year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Brunson Square Garden now.
Ooh.
Like,
that's a good one.
He'll get his jersey number retired while he's still playing.
Yeah, if they win the finals, he would get his jersey retired during the banner raising the next year. Okay. Do you think OG's done?
No.
Because I'm worried he's not going to play another game. That was not good.
As much as it would suck, in the words of, did you see what Josh Hart said about that?
He said,
"Who cares? I play all 48 minutes anyway."
OG is what makes even this depleted version of them. OG is what brings it together. Like if OG's not there, they could lose to Indiana. They could lose 4 of the next 5.
The beauty I think of them playing Indiana is that they can risk playing a small enough lineup that Achua can play good minutes.
I know. It's just even with.
No, I get what you're saying. No, I agree.
Guys.
I would rather take OG Anunoby on one leg than Achua the way OG is playing right now.
Yes, 6.5 guys with so Mitch Rob's out, Bogdanovich is out, and Randall is out. There's 6.5 guys: of Brunson, White Dante, Josh, Dennis Rodman, Hart, Isaiah. He is biracial. Hartenstein.
He's bright skinned.
OG 1999 Larry Johnson Aura Anunoby.
Ooh, that's a good one. I know. I like that one.
And
Miles Bucket Bride.
Deuce McBride, and the half player is Precious Achua. That team, in my opinion, could win the title. Depending on who they played in the finals. But without OG, man, I hate to say it, I think it's over.
Here's the problem with them because of this. You have Alec Burks, who could play minutes if you need. Alec Burks has not played in his last game.
Because
if you click game log on ESPN, it doesn't even show a Knicks game. He's only played 2 Knicks games.
I know, because Tibbs knows. It just sucks that they made all these trades.
That's what I'm saying. I get it. It's pieces you need, but the whole point of getting those pieces you need is the last 2 weeks of the season, you can slow down Brunson's minutes. So the only thing I worry about is when you have to play Diakite, Toppin, you have to play Jericho Sims, you have to play Milton and Burks. They haven't played in almost 3 weeks now.
I know.
I know
feel
you got to stay game ready, but
I hate that they made all these trades and they have operated so right. The Knicks have made every correct move for the last year, and everyone got hurt.
The problem is
bring everyone back next year. Maybe you upgrade the Randall spot somehow, but if you re-sign OG, I don't give a fuck. Give him motherfucker on the Knicks. He is worth more than every other team combined. Give OG Anunoby a blank check.
They are going to. The problem is his agent.
Yeah. You keep the rest of the Villanova crew together. Hartenstein and Robinson as a duo up front. You either keep Randall and let him come back and figure that out, or you probably, in my opinion, need to upgrade the Randall spot into maybe another bench guy or two. The Knicks next year would be one of the title favorites. It sucks that this year could come crashing down. Lydia said that tonight's game makes her nervous. I think they'll lose tonight. I think the Pacers are going to try. I mean, this is probably going to be the best effort you get. I did love what Halliburton gave them in game 2. I expect him to do that again. I will not be shocked if that gets to game 5 and then OG tries to Willis Reed it just like Jalen did. And then game 5, OG's back, baby. And then we'll see.
The problem with the Knicks has just been one thing, and it is simply they built this team to fit Thibodeau's style perfectly. But as we've seen, Thibodeau's style leads to every one of your players getting hurt and then no one knowing what to do because the guys haven't played behind them.
Yeah, this is the problem with the fact that when they acquired all these guys while other guys were out. So they could never actually have the 9-man rotation, right? That's the shitty part. Like Tibbs actually was going to have an 8-9-man rotation, but Randall had the shoulder injury. Mitchell Robinson was in and out of the lineup when they made the
the
trades.
The 9th man in the rotation was playing 4 minutes a game.
If all of these guys,
it was 8 players playing 20 plus minutes, and one guy just like, oh, we have 30 seconds left in the quarter, go.
If they were playing all of these dudes, they would play like their rotation should be. If everyone was healthy, it would have been Brunson, DiVincenzo, Anunoby, Randall, Robinson.
It'd probably be Hartenstein the way he's playing.
And then off the bench, Hart, McBride, Mitch Robin, Bogdanovich. That's 9 dudes that can legitimately play a bunch of minutes.
I don't think they're going to re-sign. Well, luckily they have Bogdanovich for 1 more year. So, because he's got another year on his contract.
Exactly. All right, real quick. Picks tonight because I got to get out of here.
So I actually don't think I touch basketball at all. I'm taking
not even from a gambling perspective. Who's winning straight up? Because I'm taking
Timberwolves. I'm taking the Timberwolves to go up 3-0, and I'm taking the Pacers just because I'm hoping I jinx it.
That's fair. I think Pacers win tonight, and then Game 4 will be fun. And I think the Wolves win tonight. But we'll know about 6 minutes into that Wolves game tonight who's here to party and who's not. That's for sure.
Exactly.
All right, brother. Thank you as always. We will be back on Monday. This is the Educated Ignorance Podcast. Thanks to our sponsors, Durham Remodeling, Ryan Allison Tattoo, and Jared Zook. I have houses to go look at. We'll see you guys next time. We are out. Peace.